and welcome to this episode of Community Connections. Today we are talking all things the Linked Circle program. This is going to be a partnership launched between the Link right here in Minneapolis and the Circle of Discipline. They are still continuing the work of over 30 years of service, helping underserved youth across the metro. This is going to be a wonderful episode you won't want to miss. James, I'm so excited to have you on this episode of Community Connections. Can you introduce yourself to viewers who may not be familiar with you and the organization that you're here on behalf of today?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here too. My name is James Lewis. I represent the Link. We're a nonprofit based out of North Minneapolis, and I currently serve as our Housing and Services Division Director.
Okay. Now we're talking about the new program being launched called the Circle, Linked Circle program for youth. And it's a partnership between the Circle of Discipline as well as the Link. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about how that partnership came to be in just a little bit of historical context for people that may not be familiar with either one of those works?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I was actually thinking a lot about that this morning, and I realized that it's way deeper than, I had been thinking about lately. I think it was always meant to be, quite honestly. It's really interesting. They were both created about 30 years ago by Black athletes, one on the north side and one on the south side. The Link was started by Oscar Reed and Jim Marshall from the Minnesota Vikings. Circle of Discipline was started by Sankara Frazier, a boxer. And they both kind of had a similar vision, is to work with youth, underrepresented communities, and be a source to support them and get them off the streets and provide some physical activity, which led to much more than that. So that's just some of the history connection. And then more recently, over the past few years, we've just naturally been referring each other to programming. And then over the past couple years, Beth Holger, our CEO at the Link, and then Jean Montrese, who is pretty much the matriarch of Circle of Discipline, put their heads together and tried to really formalize a partnership. And then recently, there's been some changes in the community with the justice response for young folks. The county home schools have been closed, and funding has shifted, and now it's shifted to more of a focus on alternatives to out-of-home placement. So with that funding, we were able to put a big push forward and formalize our partnership and create a Circle of Discipline.
Now talk to me about what the mission of the Link Circle program really is for people that may be unfamiliar.
It's really just to make sure that we are catching those underserved youth. I think what ends up happening with the youth who are involved in the justice system, which we call the unjustice system, is they kind of get thrown away. And so this program is to make sure that we can catch those youth and provide a full wraparound service of support to them. We realize that young folks are coming out of corrections or involved in juvenile justice systems. Sometimes it's, just a helping hand to get connected to resources. Sometimes it's as serious as needing shelter and housing. And so with this program, we're able to meet all of those needs full circle.
Now, many know that the Link is known as the #1 organization in the state of Minnesota housing underserved youth. How do you expect the Link Circle program to advance that reach for the community?
That's a good question. And I think one of the things that's most dynamic about our housing division is just the variety of options that we have to access housing. And so I think with the Link Circle program, that just expands that opportunity. It gives us a chance to really start to bridge some of those gaps. I think there's a lot of complexities with supportive housing. It's all related to money. And so there's been a huge gap with young people who are coming out of incarceration. They don't have a homeless status that would allow them to be in supportive housing. This programming is allowing us to bridge that gap where we don't have to go through the process of them being determined as homeless to get them into supportive housing. So it just creates another way for young people to be housed without having to go through more barriers first. So we're hoping that this is something that we can continue to grow and expand and just create more opportunities for young people to access housing as easy as possible.
Now, you just referred to a term that I'm not familiar with. You're saying people being determined as homeless. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, it's honestly kind of frustrating. And it's all related to funding, like I said. So there's mandates. HUD is a federal funding source, and their definition of homelessness is pretty rigid. And unfortunately, some of the biggest gaps that we have is that our systems do not communicate well. Mm-hmm. So when young people are in systems like foster care or incarceration, when those systems end for them, they don't have a homeless status, even if they are homeless after they're displaced. In order for them to be considered homeless through the HUD definition, they would have had to have been homeless prior to their incarceration or prior to their system involvement. Wow. So it just doesn't really make sense. And so we're just really, really excited to be able to have opportunities so that we can kind of forego that really strict definition of homelessness, because we understand homelessness looks and is way different than that. So.
Now let's talk about the model of the Link Circle partnership. You all are integrating basic needs and supportive housing, one-on-one mentorship, case management, and educational support through holistic athletic development programming. That's a mouthful, but can you kind of walk us through kind of what that looks like and some of the services as well as programming that's being offered?
Sure. I mean, it's really dynamic. I think when you're working with, what I love most about working with young people is that we know it's not just one service that they need. And the only way to make sure that they move forward is to provide a holistic support approach. And so what's really dynamic about this partnership is that we both kind of use that center as how we support young people. So on the Link side, you know, the housing is really a big part of it is a subsidy, making rent affordable. But what is more important is there's also case management attached to that, and that is where we're really focusing on supporting the young person, first of all, in what they want for themselves, and then secondly, of course, once we get to know them, kind of areas where we think that we could help them kind of enhance their skills and opportunities. So really it's about getting them connected to resources, but first it starts with meeting those basic needs, making sure that they are centered and well as a person. So if mental health is a barrier, or chemical health, or getting access to education, like those are the things that we want to focus on first before we expect them to be productive. And so with the circle, it's the same kind of approach. Athleticism is a way to really kind of pull people in an exciting kind of way, but Circle of Discipline is much more than a boxing gym. You know, they really are trying to reach those underrepresented members in the community and give an opportunity for them to have what they call a 360-degree approach to wellness. And so that's physical, mental, spiritual, you know, just trying to encompass all of these things to take care of a person so they can reach their full potential. And that's what both of our organizations are about. And so bringing it together, it just enhances the resources that both of us have to make sure that if there's a person in need of housing or shelter, they can come to us and we can help get that figured out. If we got somebody who's in housing already and maybe they just, you know, need to get out of that rut or need to, you know, some new sort of energy, we have the physical outlet with Circle of Discipline, which once you get in the Circle of Discipline, they pull you in like family, and there's all this other support that gets offered there, and you feel it immediately, and we operate the same way. And so I've always considered the Link to be my work family, and now this is just an extension to family. Circle of Discipline is a family-run business organization with a lot of support from volunteers, but you immediately feel just a welcoming sense of support and love and care, and we try to model that with each other. So it has been an amazing partnership so far.
Now, we both know that, and I'm sure many of our viewers know, that Black people are detained 3 times the rate of our white peers. The intervention this program offers is immeasurable. Can you kind of talk about bridging that gap and allowing people not to be, I think, trapped by either where they've come from or where they currently are, whether that's homeless, whether that's just being released from being incarcerated, or even being new to the state and maybe trying to reform their background from where they've come from.
Yeah, so this is one of the bigger issues for us. You know, the rate that you just explained is there's a problem behind that. You know, and it's a systematic problem. It's a white supremacy lens that has created this disparity. So for us, we feel responsible to be involved in any kind of cause to make sure there's more equity and fairness and opportunity for young people not to be just thrown into this pipeline to prison. So we recognize the disparities, and we know that it's not right. And so not only are we trying to create programming to support young folks who are involved in these systems, but on the other end, we're also advocating and doing all that we can to change these systems. And we know that we're not going to program our way out of the issues that are leading to these disparities. So it's a two-pronged approach. We can't stop what we're doing to support people, to provide opportunities, but we got to do better and we got to do more to make sure that our systems are being held accountable and acting in a way that serves all in an equitable way.
I think that's well said. Can you talk to me about what the community response has been so far with having this amazing partnership launch on you guys' behalf across the Twin Cities, having this work taking place in the North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis, but being housed in another location? Let's talk impact.
It's been great. You know, I think, like I said, for both organizations, it's just increased our reach and capacity to help folks. We've had some really good support from the ownership team at the Armory, and that has just, you know, created some more public support. They've thrown us some fancy galas, and we've gotten some great financial support behind that. We're building a really strong relationship with the county, which is very important because that is a system that we need to infiltrate to kind of make sure that we're doing the work the right way. Mm-hmm. So I think it's been great so far. There's been really good outcomes. The engagement has been really high. We've gotten a great response from the juvenile probation team. Just a lot of respect. Circle of Discipline is definitely leading the charge in this partnership. The referrals are coming directly to them, and they're doing a great job of representing what quality work and support looks like. And it's just refreshing, you know, so the response has been great. And like I said, our goal is to prove that this holistic approach works and make sure that we can sustain something that we started first of all, but then also expand and hopefully get it to be more than just centered here in Minneapolis right now.
You all are serving people ages 16 to 24 years old. And you mentioned earlier that a lot of the referrals are coming directly from Hennepin County Department of Corrections to the Circle of Discipline.
Correct.
What is your hope as Housing Division Director for this project?
My hope is that we can just prove that it works. My hope is that we can continue to build avenues with low barriers to access support, whether they're coming out of incarceration or other system-involved areas or just from the community. I think for those of us who work in the system, we understand how hard it is to navigate, and my hope is that we can just kind of remove barriers for people to get support. If you're in need, you know, you don't have to go through all of this red tape to get the support that you need. So, and then just quality programming, making sure that the youth and the people that we want to impact feel like they're being supported and have a voice in everything that we're doing.
16 to 24 is such a pivotal time in development.
Yes.
And thinking about that is the target age that you guys are working with, I can see how many different routes are available to people in that age range to do the right thing, to do the wrong thing, and then to do what they may find themselves doing. What is, I guess, would be a goal for you specifically that you wish to see outside of them being stable and creating wellness and things like that for themselves on the right path? What is the hope that you see after doing this work with the Link for 9 years?
That they continue to follow their goals and live through their passion. I want them to be productive community members. However that transpires for them. We want them to come do the work with us. We want them to be proud of who they are and be leaders. You know, we know that the biggest changes are going to come from our young people. And so we are expecting and hoping and wanting them to be our leaders. And at the Link, I think we are doing an amazing job of creating space for them to have voice and to lead these charges. And we are right behind them and letting them lead the way. And I think it's, to me, the best part of what we're doing. It's what keeps me coming back. It's what keeps me energized when I'm feeling beat down from all of the issues that we're working with. We have so many amazing young people who want to do better for themselves, but also really intentionally want to do better for their community and be leaders. And so it's our responsibility to just try to make sure that there's a space for them to grow in that and kind of get out of the way.
How can we as the community support the work of the Link Circle program going forward?
It starts by just paying attention to what's going on around you. If it seems like there's an issue, ask questions and just kind of be active and supporting the people around you. That's a great way to start. Outside of that, be nosy. Try to find out what's going on in your areas. If there's not much going on in your areas, seek it out. Donate. Money always helps. Volunteering, I think, is one of the most remarkable things people can do. I've never really had the capacity in my adult life to be a volunteer, and I've just always had so much respect for people who are able to commit in a way where they're not expecting much back besides just to be a part of something. So that is a huge, huge way for people to make an impact. Money's not the only thing. I always think educating yourself and then passing that along is the biggest way that we can help reduce and end some of these issues that we're fighting.
You all just had an open house to celebrate the launch of this amazing program in the community. Can you talk to viewers about what the actual space looks like and where it's located so that they can stop by as well as start sending people to the program that may benefit?
Yes, the space is amazing. We just recently moved there just about a year or so ago. It's like a multifaceted space that's going on. It's right over in the heart of the U of M campus, very accessible by bus, and the gym is, I think, pretty dope. There's boxing rings in there, of course. There's workout equipment all over the place. There's space for more intimate settings for educational tutoring and life skills groups and those sorts of things. The building has an indoor soccer field, a coffee shop. There's housing units on the upper level, which are amazing.
Wow.
So there's just a lot to pull people into this community space, and it's the perfect place for the Circle of Discipline to be because they're all about community. So it's like when you go there, it's a one-stop shop to kind of get your needs met, and the focal point is the Circle of Discipline space.
It's amazing. What do you say is next for the Link and this amazing partnership you guys are launching as you all head into the top of 2024 here?
Oof, there's so much on the docket. I think specifically for us, you know, we are focused really on making sure that our staff are taken care of. So we are pushing to increase our wages, pushing to create more systems to take care of staff so they can show up to do this work better. We are growing as an agency. We're taking some some adult steps, and we're going to be owning some properties. We're really, really proud of that. That's a big move for us. We've been really fortunate to continue to gain funding that will support us in finally making some of those steps. We look forward to continuing the work that we're doing with Link Circle. We're still kind of a baby program. You know, 1 year is a good start. We've learned a lot, and now we want to start building capacity so we can do more. We know it's working already. So we don't want to jump too far ahead of ourselves. We want to make sure that what we are building is intentional, and that we're doing it right versus trying to do more before we're ready. So we're in the middle of a comprehensive campaign is what we're calling it. So we are at some point going to have a new Link campus in a few years. So we are doing a lot of work behind that, just trying to solidify funding, and we are expanding programming. We are up to about 270 units of housing now. So
wow,
yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. We are expanding our outreach programming. So it just doesn't stop. And then we'll continue to keep our eye on whatever needs come up in the community. And if they make sense with our mission and vision, we will not hesitate to get involved.
Understandable. Lastly, please look into this camera here and just talk directly to viewers that may be interested in not only becoming a part of what you all have going on, but feel compelled to hear more about the services, or maybe even send someone in their network to start the work of starting to change some things in their own lives.
Absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your interest and support. And I would say, if you want to know more about what we have going on, both of our agencies do a great job of keeping things up to date on our websites and on Facebook. So for the Link, you can reach us at thelinkmn.org for our website, all one word, thelinkmn.org. And then on Facebook, you can just search us, The Link. It should pop up really quickly for you. And then Circle of Discipline is circleofdiscipline.org for their website. And if you want to find them on social media, they also have Facebook. It is Circle of Discipline Incorporated. So Circle of Discipline, INC. And I would just say, be active in your community, please. Pay attention, do what's right, speak to your representatives, advocate for change, and just make sure that you show up in a place where you are creating change that's positive for our young folks. Thank you.
Thank you, James,
Thank
for
you.
the amazing work that you guys are doing over at the Link, and now through the Link Circle partnership that will be taking place. That is taking place right now. And for your amazing work in the community and across the state of Minnesota.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for this episode of Community Connections. As always, a very special thank you to James Lewis and his amazing team at the Link, and all of our love and respect to Beth Holger and her amazing team over there, and to the Circle of Discipline as they continue to do some amazing work across the state of Minnesota. Please be sure to hit up all of their social media handles so that you can stay connected and plug in with the work that's going on across the state of Minnesota. This is impactful and important as we not only head into colder temps, but also into January in 2024. As always, I am Anna Orr, and I look forward to connecting again with you soon.